In order to save time, then I summarize just briefly contents of today's speech. First of all, I'm very glad to have an opportunity to deliver the speeches on issues of North Korea and South Korea. That Korea is closely relating to United States of America since 1866. Then, as you see, here U.S. news media reported ICBM test by North Korea is a threat USA and Asia region. On one opinion poll by the Politico Morning Consult from 1,983 voters from July 7 to 9 in 2017, a few days ago. Then they surveyed. 40% of them showed North Korea is a threat to United States. 30% from Islam State. 16% from Russia. 5% from China. 3% from Iran. Trump also today, he mentioned today at the joint news conference in Paris with the French president that Trump said new threats are coming from number one, North Korea, number two, Iran, number three, Syria. I think the reality is totally different. I can say the real threat is coming from provocations of United States military forces, not from North Korea. So, in order to prove it, we should take a look at, historical background about the relationship between Korea and USA. Maybe explain the brief history of the 5,000 years. Korea has a 5,000 years history. And then here, global map. Let me see. Korea is here. North Korea here, South Korea here. And then there's China, Russia, United States over here. And then United States, the territory of the United States is 80 times bigger than the Korea in terms of the size of territory. Then Korea is here. Then before 1948, Korea was one, not two. So the 1945 is they're liberated from Japan. However, United States and Soviet Union, they divided North and South. But Russian armies withdraw 1948 December. Then United States GI still remain in southern part of the Korea. Korea has more than 5,000 years. And then we call the Korea morning country. That I think peace-loving Korea, which means is the Korea never invaded other country. However, 1,000 times over they invaded by other countries. Then the relation between the United States and Korea, and then United States first invaded 1866. That time there's the merchant ship with the guns. Then Sherman, the name is Sherman, invaded the Korean peninsula. And then 1882, U.S. made an unfair treaty with Korea. And then U.S. made a secret agreement. This is the important part. We are colonized by the Japan, but there's a cause by the secret agreement between the United States and Japanese imperialists. The secret agreement, according to Japan occupied Korea, ruled 36 years by Japanese forces. Meanwhile, the United States occupied the Philippines. They each other mutually endorsed by endorsement. And then Korea was liberated from Japan on August 15, 1945, but it was only for 23 days. Only 23 days is a liberation day, but the rest of them occupied by the U.S. military forces. They're still at this moment. Also, USA and the South Korean government was established August 15, 1948, and the North Korea government was established on September 9, 1948. Just 1 month delayed because it's North Korean first President Kim Il-sung tried to make one Korea instead of division of two Koreas, so that the 1 month is delayed. And then they had a whole meeting in Pyongyang, 1948 April, and then most the politicians and the organization, they came to the Pyongyang, capital city of North Korea, and they get together, except the Seungman Ri's groups. And then, as you know, Korean War, June 25, 1950, and July 27, 1953. During the 3 years period, the Korean innocent people mostly, 3 million to 5 million were killed by United States forces in the war. I think you heard the many times it's a Noguni massacre. The AP and CNN and AFP, the news reported this story, Noguni. But this story only a small piece of iceberg, because there are so many, massacres. For example, Seoul, 10,000 massacre in first period. Second period, 140,700 people massacre from September 28, 1950 through November 13, 1951. And then this is the most southern part of the Korea. The South Korean were killed by the U.S. allies, U.S. Army. Incheon, 5,000 massacre. Suwon, 1,100 massacre. Chungju, 2,000 massacre. Gongju, 600 massacre. Pyeongtaek, 600 massacre. Daejeon, 8,600 massacre. Buyeok, 2,000 massacre. And then Chungju, 2,000 massacre. Jeonju, 2,000 massacre. And then Chungju and Jeonju. Jeonju is the Jeolla province, 4,000 massacre. Ansong, 500 massacre. Gimhae, 750 massacre. Jinyeong, 335 massacre. Kunsan, 400 massacre. Anyang, 400 massacre. Gwangju, 3,000 massacre. Tongyeong, 800 massacre. And then there are so many small number of people massacred in the 3 years period. That total is 3 million and 5 million. Some scholars said it's 3 million, some scholars said it's 5 million. I don't know exact number, but between 3 million and 5 million the people. Then I can explain the U.S. The B-29 bombing, and then they came to the Pyongyang city, now is the capital city of the North Korea. They bombed 400,000 bombs. At that time, the population of the Pyongyang is 400,000, which means it's one bomb per one person, the population in the Pyongyang. Then you can imagine how many people were killed at that time. And then next thing is a truce agreement. truce agreement in 1953, July 27, which means it's a victory of the DPRK, North Korea. And then 16 countries all together with United States Army, they invaded North Korea. But North Korea is just the main army is the North Korean army, plus and then some Chinese, not regular army, Chinese the civilian army, I should say. And then actually DPRK, one country versus 16 countries fighting each other. But North Korea said, we got a victory. Yeah, I agree. Also, many people ask her, how many times the United States have invaded other countries since 1776? As you know, the Iraq and then the small countries, Grenada, and then Venezuela, many Latin Americans, Asian, African, through the global communities. I think almost 150 times United States military forces invaded other countries. 150, only short time of the history. I think less than 300 history, the United States. But the Korea is 5,000 years. And then some people ask, how many times the United States have committed covert illegal actions, such as conspiracy, assassination, coup, and then etc. Then I know this gentleman whose name is Brian Wilson. He's an activist of the peace movement. He calculated 15,000 times. 15,000 times. Okay, next is DPRK has negotiated with the United States government many times, but often ending with disappointing results in order to alone and survive. North Korea decided to build their own means, possessing a nuclear deterrence instead of nuclear weapons, because they are defense-oriented weapon. As you know, the United States military forces is a bully, but North Korea is just a small country. That's why the DPRK has long prepared how to protect themselves. So that 2006, they tested the underground nuclear test. 2009, second time. Third time is 2013. 2013, from the beginning stage of the young leader Kim Jong-un, this time 2013. And then 2016, last year, 2 times the underground the nuclear test. Actually, the DPRK, North Korea, did not intention to make the nuclear weapons, because they always is the nuclear-free world. But they are bothered by the United States Army the last 70 years. That's why they observe this Iraqi, and then Gaddafi, and then Libya, Afghanistan, so many Middle East countries, so many the Latin American countries collapsed by United States, the imperialists. Okay, then last July 4 is the Independent Day, United States Independent Day. On that day, you know, the United States is the fireworks everywhere, but they ICBM tested able to reach United States mainland. That's why this the DPRK people is very, very exciting. You know, they have a big party, local and city area. I don't know how the Trump felt about that things. Okay, next. So when they reported the ICBM test succeeded as a full-fledged nuclear power that has been possessed of the most powerful intercontinental ballistic rocket capable of hitting any part of the world. Along with nuclear weapons, the DPRK will fundamentally put an end to the U.S. war threat and blackmail and reliably defend the peace and stability of Korean Peninsula and the region. Then United States and South Korea staged anti-DPRK bombing drill. It's a Korean Central News Agency of North Korea. They reported United States imperialists sent two B-1B nuclear strategic bombers based in Guam to South Korea to stage drill aiming the precision strike and the DPRK on Saturday, according to the South Korean Yonhap News. Then, a few days later, KCNA of North Korea commentary urges United States to make a switchover in its DPRK policy. The main contents of their message, what is important is that the withdrawal of the United States forces may write off the United States from the North Korea's list of the attack targets. Easiest way for clearing the United States of the concern about the North Korea's missiles targeting the United States mainland is to get its hands off the Korean Peninsula issue. United States should no longer be inveigled into the nuclear danger on Korean Peninsula. The director of the State Security Planning of the Research Institute in Sydney contended that coexistence with North Korea, a possessor of a long-range nuclear missile, is the only way out for Washington at the moment until it swallows bitter pill. Situation is undergoing rapid change. Time has now come to the United States to drop its hostile policy toward the DPRK. The United States had a better face up to the trend of history, make switch over in its DPRK policy, and thus fulfill its responsibility in ensuring peace on the Korean Peninsula. This will be beneficial for the United States too. My conclusion, number one, United States government should apologize and compensate about war crimes. The Maggie explained these war crimes before. Yeah, there are so many the victims, not only North Korea, but also South Korean people is the victims. United States, number two, government should have a normalization with North Korea by peace treaty and have her support its reunification. As you know, the 10 million Korean family members are still separated by their division. Number three, U.S. military forces should stop joint military exercises by threatening North Korea and should withdraw U.S. forces out of South Korea. This is action. This is action for peace. If those are not occurred, United States military forces are all danger in South Korea, Japan, Okinawa, Guam, Alaska, even U.S. mainland is also danger in near future. Therefore, United States of America and DPRK should have a peace treaty replacing the 1953 truce agreement as soon as possible. Yeah, this is my conclusion. And then lastly, I show the power of North Korea. Let me see. Copy. Okay. And then here. DPRK have tested 6 times its underground nuclear test. They all succeeded. Now it's a Hwasong 10, Hwasong 12. This is a Hwasong 14, able to reach United States mainland. It's about a 4 minutes video clip.
저기 김정은이 나오는 거 이렇게 보여.
Okay, lighter. Okay, I supporting is peace. I supporting is a nuclear-free zone, not the nuclear deterrence, whatever, nuclear weapon. However, the United States and a few countries don't like to abolish their weapons. That's why DPRK is waiting until they abolish nuclear weapon. Then I think it's now July 4, Hwasong 14, the ICBM, when they succeeded, that one time succeeded. The mostly second time, third time, fifth time succeeded, but this country is the first time succeeded ICBM. That's why they are now is a big party every day. Maybe in the last 1 week, it's a whole parties. Some of you might misunderstand. This guy says don't like his peace. No, I can just say contents and character of nuclear deterrence possessed by DPRK and the nuclear weapons possessed by United States, totally different. United States nuclear weapon for attacking other country, but the nuclear deterrence possessed by DPRK protect for themselves, plus protect some other countries, progressive countries, such as Cuba, such as Venezuela, the many progressive countries in the world, so that they are not gonna use nuclear deterrence until United States use weapon again, then they might use. So the reason why I'm explaining two different character, the United States nuclear weapon, DPRK nuclear deterrence is totally different. Thank you. I forgot the one thing. I'm not the guys is reactionaries that came here. Roh Kilnam is a bad guy. Roh Kilnam is a kick out of this country. Things like that. But they don't know deep mind, my deep mind. There are two kinds of American. One is good American, like you. However, there is a bad American, such as military industrial complex people, merchant, weapon merchant people, then gasoline entrepreneurs, also big finance company entrepreneurs. But I think 90%, I think most of the American is good, like Maggie and me. Don't you think so? Yeah, like you. Also, South Korean people, many South Korean is good people like us, but small number of South Korean puppet of United States imperialists. They did bad things. So the reason why I'm explaining, you guys don't understand myself. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ken. Yeah, I'm going to open the floor for discussion. I know people have a lot of, misrepresentations from the mainstream media about what Korea is like, what the North is like. So you can ask anything. We have people here who have been to Korea and they were for the Fed to be brought into Korea. So that shows how far to the right are, where even the president of the South Korea today is opposed to the U.S. putting THAAD missiles in South Korea. But these were like the ultra-right, I think.
Yes.
You want to speak about?
Yeah, can you explain who they were?
Yeah, I know the most of those guys.
They are pro-US.
Yeah, they are good guys, but they don't know what is going on in the global community.
So they want US to go interfere in Korea?
Yeah, they came here. They used the nasty word toward me, and then this event tonight.
Right.
They followers of the Park Chung-hee, the military dictators in South Korea, and his daughter is Park Geun-hye. Yeah, followers.
I
the ultra-right reactionaries.
Right, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Every time they came peace movement, I don't like. Yeah. Oh.
One of them is the photographer, professional photographer to get the money. He always show up himself to the peace movement group, and then he get paid for that.
Yeah.
So I talked with him for quite a while.
So just to be clear, they want the missiles to be in South Korea. That's what we're opposing it. Like for instance, like we're opposing it just to be clear. But they were out there because they want the missiles to be there because they feel like North Korea is a threat. Is that what it is, or because of the U.S.?
But they want U.S. missiles to be
Yeah.
there?
Okay, U.S. missiles is called is a SAD. SAD.
Sad.
Yes, THAD.
Yeah.
Yeah, SAD. And then the United States tried to deploy the United States missile in the South Korean land, but the South Korean people don't like it because it's not aiming at North Korea, but aiming at Russia and China. There's a China opposed, and then Russia opposed, but they like to deploy. Yeah, they want it deployed. Yeah, but they don't want and DPRK North Korean missiles. Got it?
Do they want still the division or they want unity?
Oh, they don't like the unification.
Okay.
Yeah,
They were calling them communists.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
yeah, rat bait every time. Oh.
Sorry.
And I've always went to public school, and the idea of Korea, as a whole, where I come from, is war, very sharp when it comes to a mind, very advanced technology-wise, and just very altruistic almost, and a lot of intimidating. But I guess my main question is, because I've done some studying of the continent of Asia and Korea in particular, and every time I pull anything up, every time I've done any kind of research, there's always been stories about North and Korea and how they almost have bouts with each other. It's like it's always an imbalance between the two separations of regions, and I always questioned or wondered why. Like, why is that? Why is it such a, I guess, competition, or why is it such a, clash between the two regions? I've always just been curious, I've heard certain things, like as far as like nuclear weapons, and I've also done research, and there's been theories of, I guess, this crossbreeding of certain, ethnicities, and I guess, all kind of stuff and theories are out there, but mostly nuclear weapons and riches and crossbreeding of DNA. I've read some things about, and I've always just wondered what the main reason behind all of that was. If anybody in the room could just kind of point that out, and it's just interesting to me, the theories that that have been transpired through the years. The textbooks are written, the doctrine, and the media, and all that stuff. So I'm just curious to know why.
Do you want to speak to that, or we can take a few questions and then answer?
Yeah, I just want to follow up that thing. I'm from the Philippines, over quite near.
From
We
where?
have a long
Where are you from?
with the Korean people. So there's a lot of Koreans staying in the Philippines now. Our prediction in the Philippines is that in the Philippine movement, we are sure if we're going to study the geopolitics of the U.S. imperialism now, it's really getting crazy now. And our analysis is really going to trigger for the World War III. Simple as that, especially in South China Sea, the same thing as in Europe. This is happening all over the world. The craziness of the desperation of capitalism itself is really dying now. So naturally, they're going to provoke North Korea, the same thing as other Asian countries. That's why the U.S. really wants to take the Philippines again to trigger that invasion to China and the other countries. The monopoly say the same thing we're going to study about World War I, World War II, it's an imperialist war. We are going to another imperialist war. What happened to North Korea is a good thing, though. They're able to produce an ICBM. That's also for the protection for the Asian countries, though, because U.S. imperialism is really so mad. All over, from Africa, from Latin America, Asia, they killed a lot of people. The same thing. The history of Korea. The same thing in history. How many people Americans have killed during the Vietnam War? 200,000. The population before is just 2 million. Simple as that. It's really killings. And America, us here, has to stop this war. The only one who would stop this war is the American people, the people of the world. But these bureaucrats, they're going to do anything, they're going to be crazy, though. That's capitalism itself. What's happening in Europe now, that's competition. Simple as that. If we're going to study geopolitics, we're going into another World War III.
Hi, hello. Actually, I have two questions in one. The first question I would like to know, because now Korea is divided into two parts, right? South and the north, as well. I mean, like Germany was, right? Divided from the west to the east. And in Germany, they have a wall that people cannot, cross over. And like now in Korea, the country is divided, and you say 10 million family members are completely separated, right? Which is very sad. So how is the separation made in Korea? Is that a wall? Is that how is it like a territory speaking? How can a North Korean cannot cross over the South? Is it something stopping, like a border patrol, or is it a wall? That's the first question. And the second question is, do you have a plan to destroy that separation? Do the Korean people are willing to reunite so strongly that something can be made and reach out to internationally countries that are willing to even help Korea to break that separation down, like the German people did when they come together and they break down the wall and then they reunify each other. So do you have a plan for that?
I'm sorry? Okay. Yeah, there are so many good questions. My memory is too bad. But the beginning, your question divided two parts, and then the 38 parallel line, 2 kilometer northern part, 2 kilometers southern demarcation line. So there are some part is a cement wall, some part is a steel wall. So the very tension those areas. Yes, yeah, but the southern northern part of both parts already started to reunification process. The June 15, 2000, the North Korea, the late Kim Jong-il, South Korea is Kim Dae-jung, two top leaders made agreement to, first step is confederation, federation. You understand? Not like a German. The situation is different from the German. The South Korea is a capitalist part, North Korea is a socialist part. Any one part is not released, not give up. So very tight. So that they promised the two top leaders is made a decision. We have two steps. Initial step is mutually respect, mutually understanding. Okay, you go ahead, socialist system. The other side is you go ahead the capitalist system. But we have a confederation congress. Then we are representing sports, one team. United Nations is one delegate. You understand? But the United States is a 50 state. Each state has their own regulation, own rules, right? Yeah, that is the second step is the both parties is not short time, maybe long time. But number one is the problem, is the other gentleman said is the conflicts between North and South. Actually, no conflict at all. Same language, same culture, same feeling, same emotion. But what is the problem? Problem is the southern part of the Korean peninsula, supported by the United States imperialists. Those is that they divide and rule. You understand what I mean? The number one problem, number two problem, number three problem, all problems of the United States ruling class, which means it's imperialist. So we Korean guys is shake hands. It's only 2 or 3 minutes get together. So that the June 15, 2000, we say June 15 declaration. Two top leaders declared we are unified, first step. But 5 years, and then Roh Moo-hyun, second term is okay. And then third is MB Lee Myung-bak and Park Geun-hye is a military dictator Park Chung-hee's daughter. Those two broke the promise. That's why we are struggling. You understand? Yeah. Number two, United States interferes in everything. Even though Moon Jae-in, new president, cannot do without permission from United States, CIA, United States government side. That means it's a puppet government. So that 2000 June 15 is they got over. They made unification first step, no problem at all. But United States interfered. They closed this Kaesong industrial complex. They closed this Kumgang mountain, beautiful mountain, get together. Both parties can go and meet each other. Already started to unification, but United States upside down again.
And another thing that separates them, 30,000 U.S. troops on the border between the North and the South that have been there since the 50s.
Yes.
No other country in the world has troops there but the U.S. And in fact, it's the U.S. generals that control the South Korean military. They can't do anything without the U.S. And Panduzi. You want to
Yeah, go ahead. More.
First of all, I would like to thank the International Action Center for putting on this forum. It's important that we begin to hear alternative information from what we're getting from the U.S. corporate. So I want to thank them. I want to thank the speaker for coming and sharing his knowledge and expertise. During the Korean conflict, there were a lot of children that were born between Korean mothers and African American fathers. Are any of those children in North Korea now, and what is their status?
I believe there are no international marriage in North Korea. I think I know the few couples, but the South Korea is many international marriage couples. Also, South Korean is export kids, orphans, to other country, still now. But the North Korea is no orphans, mixed blood. Got it?
So you're saying there's no orphans in North Korea?
Yeah, Yeah, there are orphans, but there's no orphans mixed blood.
Oh, there's no mixed.
Yes. No.
So all those orphans.
Option. No.
But if
No,
there was,
sir.
were they taken somewhere or there just isn't that?
No, there's I haven't seen. But they did not say. I think that there's no the culture is not the international marriage allowed.
It's been isolated.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about marriage. I'm talking about the children that were left after the U.S. soldiers left.
No.
Lots of
Yeah.
children.
Oh, I understand.
in the Union.
There are.
Now, wait a minute. Let me
Okay.
just say this.
Okay.
I've met a lot of them from South Korea.
That's right.
And they tell me a big story. So I was asking, are there any of those children in North Korea, and what is their status? So are you saying that all the children were left in South Korea? There was none?
Okay, you mean American GIs?
Yes.
GIs? Okay. There are only South Korean ladies. South Korean ladies married is the U.S. GIs. And then they born the kids. Some kids became singers. Yeah, we quite often we can see those couples.
I used to work as an adoption agency worker. Let me explain to you what the problem is. I'm sure that
didn't have access to the North Korean people they had to the South Korean people, so they spread their whatever, they're part of their oppression only in the South. Same with the Vietnam War, right? Somebody thought about that. And the Vietnam War as well, as the U.S. soldiers were allowed access to certain ones, and a lot of times they don't want them to talk to the North Korean people because they don't want them hearing the other side, especially the black soldiers. They definitely don't want them hearing the other side. And this makes me think about self-determination. Oh, before that, I won't forget though. Thanks everybody for coming here. And we have a sign-up sheet.
Another reason is to defend the other countries like Venezuela, Cuba. How about Syria? What do they think? I mean, U.S. is destroying Syria. What is North Korea thinking about Syria?
I don't know exactly, but the North Korea support is the Iran before, and then the Cuba, Venezuela, but directly or indirectly. But indirectly, I don't know. There are so many sanctions. North Korea is the #1 sanctioned country, sanctioned by United States, so that every movement checked by U.S.A, CIA, and the relating people, So sometimes is third world country people came to the Pyongyang, North Korean capital city, and they learned something. But they sent some weapon, but I don't know. That is maybe top and second top secret.
No, I mean, like, what is? Can you kind of explain it? Because China and Russia, Iran are supporting Syria.
Yeah.
What is the relationship of North Korea?
Yeah,
with
North
China?
Korea. I saw the North Korea statement protesting, United States that they support is the Syrian government. The Syrian president of Syrian government to close relation with the DPRK. There's the embassy in Pyongyang too. Yeah. Yes.
I just want to know about your labor movement in the South, the labor movement.
What movement?
Labor.
Oh, labor movement. Where?
In South Korea.
Yeah, the labor movement is very strong, but the government side is very wise to control the labor movement by charging money. For example, the rally and demonstration, and then the top of the labor movement people charges the 1 million won, the 10 million won, So that also they arrested, they controlled by law and the money. But actually, no freedom of the protesting.
I just want to know, because I'm a labor organizer in the Philippines now. So
Yes,
we
I know.
want to know about the movement because
Yeah, there's a two labor movement organization in South Korea. One is the Minju Democratic Labor Movement Union, and then the other is the Hanguk Labor Union. But the one is a pro-government, the other is the anti-government. So they make them is the frict each other. Yeah, divided rule.
They're very heroic.
Yes, yes.
They're very heroic.
Yeah.
Yes.
I know that a lot is said about the fact that North Korea doesn't have a centralized banking system, whereas like they're I think one of only 3 countries that don't have centralized banking systems in the world. Is that what kind of tension does that create, and is that a cause for a lot of this war and North Korea feeling like they need to defend themselves from bigger, more militaristic or industrial countries that is that like a direct effect or?
Answer. Yeah.
I don't really understand the whole thing about central banking and stuff, but
Probably not alive.
I think what North Korea, it does present a threat in the sense that it shows an alternative way of living. So I think, I don't know about the central banking thing, but I think if people knew about North Korea and they saw, they get free housing, free education, free healthcare, 8-hour work days, I think 5 months maternity leave, even free beer, like in free beer halls. They have all this stuff going on for them. And I think, instead what people know is, what do they eat their babies or, weird stuff like that, like really ridiculous things. I don't know how people believe it, but if people actually knew the reality, I think people here would be like, how come we don't have that? And I think that's more of a threat than, I don't know, central banking, I don't know that stuff. I've seen it on like Facebook or something, but I don't understand. I think the real threat is the alternative system that they present for people.
Reza hasn't spoken yet.
Look at what's happening in Iraq and Syria. 300,000 Syrians are being killed because of U.S. military intervention. The Iranian president a year ago went to North Korea. It's the only country could support them. And millions of Koreans, they come and support the Iranian president. Everybody should ask themselves. Every Friday we are on the corner of Sunset and Echo Park with the banner. U.S. spend every minute $110 billion of military. On what policy? Divide and rule. Make this country to go against another country and another country. North Korea is not doing that. It's not doing that. It's a country that they protect Iran, protect Syria. That's the only, let's everybody question. United States is 5% of the world population. 5%. This country has 7% of the world population in prison because they make money, billions of dollars. Each prisoner, when I go visit them, they pay $5 per minute to talk to their friend. This is the U.S. That people want to ask for help. We passed flyers, 100 years of military intervention. I could name the country, 1953, they overthrew Dr. Mossadegh, they did Alev, they did. Which country has done that such a years?
A lot of this information is very new to me. But I just want to be clear, and I'm sure some of you guys who are, it's just very, on that surface. Okay, I don't want to speak too loud. So is the North Korean leader open to unification? Is he open to it? Like how, because he seems like such a dictator, and I see him as this horrible person that kills his relatives and represses the North Koreans. And for me, it's like I've heard of women being raped and all kinds of things, and it's like of course, like it could be like this gentleman says, like all this alternative news, and I know from our election and everything else, like the political environment like that, we've just been fed all this propaganda in America, so, or just all over the world. So I don't know if you guys can help me clear that. Is this something, like, am I seeing the leader of North Korea in the wrong way, or is it true that he's that way? But, I mean, I don't know. It's a little confusing because I understand that there's a lot we don't know about the country.
Very good question. Very, very good question. Yeah, that question is mostly last question to understand what is going on in North Korea. I have experienced this, a lot of Americans, a lot of Koreans, even Koreans. Koreans don't know what is going on in the North Korea. I visited North Korea 74 times. Then this month is 22nd, I will visit again. Then I'm going to interview with her about this Hwasong 14, the ICBM. Okay, your question is leader of the North Korea. I learned socialist country, I learned capitalist country, I learned global history. So far, I haven't found great leader like North Korean leaders. The North Korean leaders, number one leader is Kim Il-sung, first president. Second president, Kim Jong-il, passed away. Now is a young leader. Date of birth is 1982, January 8. That 35, right? Yeah. About 35. Very genius. He studied in Switzerland. He is an expert over the ICBM, things like that. Also, he is a very warm. You know the Dennis Rodman?
Yes, they're wonderful.
Yeah, Dennis Rodman is attractive. The young leaders, you know, they like each other. I shook hands with the young leaders 2 times. Very warm. And then he copied the first president and second president. Totally same. Which means is an excellent leader. Excellent leader means it's for own people, not for own individual. You know how much the leaders, United States president for whole people, right? Yeah, you can imagine. Also, number one country in terms of a socialist system. You know, the Soviet Russia and China politics is communist, but economics is free economy, like capitalist China. But DPRK, North Korea, is purely socialist. There is no medical fee charged, no educational fee charged, no boarding fee charged, no tax. Countries provided everything, even though no single person outdoor homeless people, no homeless people, no single woman smoking in North Korea, which means it's a morality, number one morality. Yeah, number one morality. No outside sexual problem, not at all.
Hold on, before we go, wait, please, you've spoken. Okay. I want to introduce Scott, who's also been to Korea and has a couple comments, North Korea and South Korea.
Well, I want to make a couple of comments. One thing is, in relation to the question asked by this young woman about the centralized bank, I think maybe what you're referring to is the fact that all businesses in North Korea, the concept of private ownership was swept away by the revolution. And since that time, the needs of the North Korean people have been provided for by a socialist government. There are no billionaires, raking in profits from everything that people need and everything that people produce. And that's what has earned them the enmity of the United States and all the other major capitalist countries, frankly. And I wanted to say something because I heard your earlier question regarding the relationship between North and the South, and that's exactly the impression that the U.S. news media, which is also owned by billionaires, by the way, and shares the same interests as the people that representatives of the Pentagon, of the White House. They really want people to have the impression that North and South Korea are just blood enemies. It's been going on for so long, and that was the reason they entered the Korean War, was to protect South Korea. And it really couldn't be further from the truth. I'm really reiterating some of the points that Ken made, but the people of North and South Korea they're a nation. They're a nation that was together for 5,000 years. They shared the same language, the same culture, the same food, the same poetry, the same music, the same everything. And under the Roosevelt administration, he ordered his Secretary of War and Secretary of State to go into another room and divide the country in half. That's what we got to do. And they knew nothing about Korean culture. They just took a line and drew it along the 38th parallel and said, okay, this is North Korea, this is South Korea. Now we have to separate them militarily. And the line that separates them is in some areas the most militarized, even though they call it the demilitarized zone. It's full of landmines. It's, American soldiers on the south side are armed to the teeth. And, frankly, the people of North Korea and of South Korea haven't known a minute of peace since the close of the Korean War. Not 1 minute of peace. There was not a day that went by when the people of North Korea didn't feel threatened by, U.S. nuclear might. And it's a menace to South Korea as well. The people of South Korea know it, and that's why there were massive demonstrations against this THAAD missile system, which the U.S. calls a defense, but is in fact an offensive weapon. They use it to tip the balance in their favor again. If they can block weapons from another country, but they still have their 8,000 nuclear weapons, then again they have the military advantage. So just one more point, and that is that not only is the U.S. a menace to North and South Korea, they're a menace to all of Asia. They went into the war in 1950 as a stepping stone to China, among other things. And that is still their goal. They want to dominate the whole region. And that's really their intention. And it's the courage and the discipline of all Korean people that have been one obstacle in that terrible agenda.
Going to lead to my next question. Actually, thank you for clearing that up. Because I always just read that, any kind of like doctrine or any kind of like dissertation I would look up about Asia and Korea and North Korea and South Korea in general, that would always come to pass. And I know the mass media blows a lot of things out of proportion a lot of times to where you would get to the real authentic reason and you're like, this is nothing like it was made out to be. For me, my next question was why exactly, outside of like nuclear weapons and outside of like, I guess it sounds like gentlemen in the corner sitting there kind of clear that up about prisons and them making so much profit and money in America, and they have a lot of their scholars and a lot of their people that are educated in these prison systems making money for the prison systems in the bubble, but not really getting that information out there that's authentic, that people kind of need to hear to kind of like diffuse a lot of the propaganda that's being put out there. I guess my main question is, why exactly, what else exactly is the U.S. such a threat to Asia, the whole continent of Asia in general, and how can that be, a lot of that be diffused to the mass media? Because I don't know sometimes if the mass media puts that out there to make these corporations more rich, or to expose them more, or if they're just doing it for some sort of game, if it's like just one select group of people that are just like doing it just out of fun games, or what the motive behind all that is. A lot of confusion, but you know, it makes you think, and it makes like there's so many different ways to look at things. It makes different mindsets just wonder why, why is this going on? Like, is it a machoism thing? Is it, oh, we have this on you, we have this, these bigger missiles, these bigger, better nuclear weapons, and that can outshine you and blow you up within one hit. Is it a macho thing? Is it over the economy, the funding, the money? like what is it exactly? And I think it's interesting to hear different perceptions. Really interesting. And I was just going to lead to my next question, like what else would there be besides nuclear weapons and the economy and I guess riches and wealth outside of that? What else would there be? Yeah,
Yeah, I can answer for you. It's all about empire. Like the Roman Empire existed for a period of time, and the British Empire existed for a period of time. The United States is a modern-day Roman Empire. It's about control, total global domination for the rest of the world. Everyone else basically. Even American people here, working class here, they want us to work for them. We're the ends, but they try to make us the means to create more wealth, more power for them. I was in the Marine Corps, served in Vietnam. I went there very naive, basically, under the impression I was there to provide something for people that I didn't have for myself back here. Of course, in the 1960s, it was black history. But I want to address something this lady here, a question she had. Hopefully I can answer the question. When you were stating that what you heard about the leader of North Korea, or the evil person he was, I think we have to question the society of this country rather than declare someone evil. They said that Muammar Gaddafi was evil, he was killing his people. We look at what he was doing to his people, basically. He provided free education for them, free health. There were no homeless people in Libya, and he was there. When the two individuals got married and formed a family, they were given $50,000 to start out with. Free apartment. Everything was covered for them to get them on their feet. If the family increased, they were given an apartment basically suitable for the increase of their family. If there was education, special that they couldn't educate the people in Libya, in the university there, they sent them abroad to study. If there was medical treatment they needed, that was beyond Libya, they would go to the Soviet Union. They go to the Soviet Union.
좀 사회하니까
Some of them came to the United States to go to school, basically. So I'm saying that whenever they say that an individual is evil and they don't like this individual and this individual has to be removed, it's because this individual is in conflict with their interests, basically. When they say that this person is a threat to American interests, they're not talking about the interests of the everyday American people. They're talking about the interests of these corporations, Exxon Oil, Shell, British Petroleum, whoever, United States Steel, AT&T. Their interest to them, that they're threat to their interest, basically. Another example was in Cuba. Fidel Castro was 600 attempts made on his life, but because the Cuban people loved him so much, basically, he survived all of them. Even the Cuban people, that some of them were in Miami, who came there and who were sympathetic towards him, they got word back to him about a lot of attempts that were going to be made on his life. You look at what Fidel Castro and what Muammar Gaddafi did within the span of time that they were alive. In both countries, 90% of the people were illiterate, homeless, living on the street. Within a short span of time, they eradicated all these problems. In the United States, you have people graduating high school, they can't read and write. Huey Newton himself said he graduated high school, totally illiterate, and his brother taught him to read and write. The first book he read was Plato's Republic. He ended up getting a PhD degree in the history of I believe it's theory. But anyway, I'm just saying that it's not that
끝나고 손영 집으로 갑시다.
it's because the system failed him. It was designed to help poor people. It was designed to enrich the people.
오늘 갔다가 조금 늦은 사람이 일찍 일어나서 그래 한 30분.
What their intention was. And they maintain that position. As Rita pointed out, that they have the largest population of prison inmate per ratio anywhere in the world, even exceeding China. And China's population is far more enormous than this one. So, you know, it's to a point where it is the, I think that socialist countries, they maximize the use of their population, whereas here, they minimize them. As I said earlier, they use them as a means as opposed to an end. You know, I think humans around the globe deserve the best of science and technology to provide. Here in the United States, the other individuals die. An Armenian woman in Glendale had insurance with an insurance company, Aetna. I call them Aetna. Had insurance with them, and there was a procedure that she needed at the hospital. And when they contacted the hospital, when they contacted the insurance company, they told them, we don't cover that. Then this woman died. There was a big stink about it. Helped Obama in his election the first time around because he made these claims, he was going to do this, he was going to do that, and he gave the insurance company a windfall. So it's all about profit here in America. It's not about looking out for the rights of human beings. And basically, I hope I answered your question in regards to, you know, the leader of North Korea. And some of these other people in the United States have a tendency to criticize. Aristide was trying to rebuild Haiti. And they kidnapped him and took him to Africa. And then forbade him to return. And the Haitian people didn't even have a right. I mean, they democratically elected this man. So that's all I have to say.
Okay. Yes, go ahead.
I just want to address this crowd now. This capitalism itself, we are in an inverted world. The world is so inverted in the capitalist system itself. It means the working class is underneath, and we mouth about democracy, but actually it's not democracy. It's democracy for the few. In a socialist system, we have to understand what is socialism itself. My address to the woman is that the communist leaders are being elected by the People's Congress of North Korea. That is socialism itself. It's more democratic. It's the people's power now. It is the proletarians who dictate the government itself. Not like in America, in the capitalist system, this is what we see. Crimes all over. Everything. This is the agenda of capitalism itself. We see homeless people. In a socialist country, once we study what the socialism is all about, we will understand it's so humane. In the capitalist society, it's really an anarchist society though. We live from here now, we look at our pocket. Everything here is money. Money, money, money. The relationship of human beings, there's no relationship in a capitalist society. It is all money. That's what we live. In the socialist system is quite deeper, and that's why to my address to this crowd is that we have to study what is socialism is all about. Because capitalism is already dying. That's why war is all over the world.
Okay, I think we'll wrap it up.
I guess my last question is after this meeting, like what do we do? I mean, we're not
Right,
trying
what
to
do we
be
do
socialist,
then?
but we need to balance democracy and we still want democracy in our country.
I mean, we still want a democracy, we're not like a socialist country, but, I mean, what do we do from here after knowing all of this and finding out? I mean, what I'm taking from here is really, like, for instance, North Korea, I say all these things about them, but I don't really know them. I don't know what a socialist country is. Yeah, maybe the education system fails to like teach me the proper history, and I think every country is doing that. Like Japan, they don't teach the real history about Japanese history and all that stuff, and it's not in the history of But like, what do we do from there? Like, what is it that we should do?
No, I can answer if you want. I mean, I think that's part of the problem with socialism and
democracy aren't mutually exclusive at all. As he's saying over here, our friend from the Philippines over here, socialism is more democratic, and until we start unlearning those divisions that are drawn that are pretty erroneous, it's going to be difficult because we need to realize that fact that that's a lie that we're told, that socialist countries have to be less democratic or be totalitarian, as I don't love that word. And especially in the situation of North Korea, if I'm not mistaken, there's also elected leaders, not just Kim Jong-un. He's not the only person in power by any means. So I just wanted to say that.
Okay, and the way to...
I'll make it brief. Democracy, there's only two economic systems in the world: socialism and capitalism. Democracy is a characteristic of an economic system. It's just like saying a man is handsome. It's a characteristic he has. Or it's like to say he's polite. The person's polite. He or she is polite. It's just a characteristic, basically. But under socialism is providing for one according to their needs, and also they give according to their ability. Last example, our president. I mean, very few of us who really say that he's really qualified as president and appear on the world stage as a political leader. I mean, he might have a great characteristic as a businessman, but as a political dignitary, I think he falls far short. He just don't have the character. And so I'm just saying that, people in this society, they program us from small children. Oh, we have a democracy. We have a democracy. We don't have a democracy. It's a republic, basically. So I mean, but they say that everyone else want what we got. I strongly disagree. Cubans don't want what we got. The North Koreans don't want what we got. The Vietnamese don't want what we got. So.
I like the question of where do we go from here, though? And I'm hoping that everyone who's here.
Yeah, I think that a good thing to do just as far as getting things fixed as far as, issues with different, to make everyone happy. I think a good solution would to be separate the corporate money out of government, because when this, in any government, it doesn't really matter. In this country, in North Korea, in any society in which they have a government, most never were created under the they weren't created by businesses. So if you have a government that's being basically funded by business or business money, I mean, it's no longer a government, because there's never been a government that's been created by a business. So I think the solution would be to take corporate money and those entities out of government. And
Can I say one thing?
Yes, please.
Yeah, I can say last the situation is a more deep the question and answer, right? The issue is very significant, the philosophical issue. Then the socialism and capitalism that I can say easily explain is what is the more democratic, that I can answer classless society. Where is a classless society? Socialist country, capitalist country. Class society is I cannot realize your dream, everybody's dream. As long as a class exists, the struggling must exist. So I found the DPRK, you know, the Billy Graham, famous Christian minister, Billy Graham visited North Korea. He said, oh, there's no need Jesus work in DPRK. He said, yeah, no Jesus need in DPRK. Also, you know, Jimmy Carter visit North Korea. And then he came back, he wrote his biographic book. And then Kim Il-sung, #1 first president, is much better than Thomas Jefferson plus 5 famous United States presidents, more than that. That means it's a classless society. No crimes at all. No hate at all, nobody. Yeah, of course, no jealousy because it's no class.
Great, thank you. Okay.
Just one last thing, that's a great question. We're right down from here. And just that once you realize what's our greatest threat, well, it might seem like that. I actually, they were going to drill before, and I asked them to delay it a couple hours, so they were being nice. But the real threat is just look around you. What's the threat to you being able to feed your child, or educate your child, or have a roof over your head? Who's taking all those resources and all that austerity that's going away from our communities from being able to do that? The money's being funneled into the military. And you can judge a society by how much they spend on people's needs versus how much they spend on other people's needs. In fact, actually North Korea has the top rate in literacy, 100% literacy. Their world rate is 86%. It's higher than the U.S. in beds per 1,000, 2.78 people per 1,000 beds. Hospital beds. No, physicians, I'm sorry. It has more physicians per 1,000 than the United States, Japan, South Korea, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Luxembourg, Mexico, and many other countries. But they never talk about that. If you really want to judge a society, it's hard to see with all the barrage of the baloney that comes from the media, but you can even go to the CIA World Fact Book and see all these facts about how much do they spend on the people versus how much. So what our fight is, we've got to see every time that they want to put THAAD missiles or start another war in North Korea or wherever, that's a threat to our children, being able to take the money to use for food programs, all of these food stamps, all of the social programs for education, all that gets drained by the military budget. So we should see the threat against North Korea as a threat against our own children. So that's what we got to do. When they threaten, we should have demonstrations, we should have protests. Remember how they used to have in 2003 and 2004? We had hundreds of thousands of people out, and that actually worked. I mean, they still went to war, but the Bush administration officials said the reason they didn't drop one of these huge smart bombs, one of these supposedly smart bombs, it was a bunker buster bomb. They were going to use it. They said, well, we can't because the anti-war movement is too strong. So if we can build up the anti-war movement again to stop these kinds of things, that means more money for us. And it also means building our movement so we can finally take what we need and make this country more of a democracy, actually.
Okay, this has been a great discussion. I'm so glad. Thank you so much, Ken. Where are you for coming tonight?